And I am live. Hello. I am Lisa J. Stocks. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Stock Talk episode. Um, I broke my laptop on Wednesday night. And so this is my first time trying to do this. I do have another monitor over here, but I'm used to having my laptop open in front of my face, and it's just weird. But I am gonna try to make it through. I know lots of people do all of this just on a phone, not multiple monitors and all of this anyway. But I feel like I'm definitely gonna be looking off to the side a lot because I don't have my monitor in front of me. So today, first I want to start by, while anyone is rolling in, talking about some of the poll questions that I had up on my community page this week. But just to give you this week's topic, I'm going to be talking about what I'm always talking about around here: striving to achieve financial freedom, especially through our investments. So, we're going to talk about an article that I was looking at about some of the things that Warren Buffett encourages us to splurge on, the necessities that we need to prioritize when it comes to our spending. And I'm going to share a few lessons that I've learned, or a few things that I have incorporated in my investment journey that I feel are strategies that have helped me on my journey in a positive way. So, if you're serious about building wealth and making financial choices that are going to help you in the long run, I hope you enjoy this live stream. And make sure to comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. What are your biggest financial goals right now? So, let's get started now. Um, I have scheduled more polls and quizzes, but I did a few over the last week, and I'm going to take a look at a few of the results. So, one question was, if you had an extra $1,000, where would you put it? And this is not surprising, knowing my audience and what seems to resonate best with them. ETF was the winner when it came to this question. 62% of you said that that's what you would do with your extra thousand. With the economy and everything that's going on right now, I wasn't sure if a lot of people might have opted for saying just holding on to it, putting it in the high yield savings account. But it seems like we are staying steady with our investing. Let's see what the next question is. Okay, so I already mentioned that some of what I'm going to talk about today is inspired by Warren Buffett. And he is known as the Oracle of Omaha. That was the correct answer when it comes to this question. So, Warren Buffett, for those of you who may not know, um, is the chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. He earned this name as the Oracle of Omaha because he is incredibly um, versed and talented when it comes to picking stocks and building long term wealth. So, he is famous for his simple strategy of buying strong companies and holding them long term for decades, even. So, Charlie Munger, which was another choice that I put in this particular quiz, is his longtime business partner and vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. Now, the Omaha part is because that is where he likes to be stationed. That's where he lives, not in some big city like you would think. Most likely, you would think someone like him would live maybe in New York near Wall Street or something like that. But that's where he is. And Charlie Munger, who recently passed, rest in peace, is also a great investor focused on those rational decision making when it comes to personal finance. So thank you, Cavett, Buzz, a brother of a certain age, everyone that's tuning in so far. Um, if you weren't here at the very top of the show, I was saying that my I broke my laptop, so my eye contact may not be what it usually is because I'm looking at the phone for comments and my monitor, which is way off to the side. But um, now, who else did I have in this one? Jim Bogle. Now, he is the founder of Vanguard, and he is the creator of many of the index funds that I'm often talking about, like VTI and VOO. So, his low cost investing strategy made the stock market investing accessible to many everyday people. And if you're like me, let me say, having being able to buy ETFs and not having to pick those individual stocks and having such a low expense ratio is also a plus. So I'm glad that he exists and he created this for all of us to be able to take advantage of. And I threw in here also who? Tim Cook, and he is the CEO of Apple, and he has become one of the most valuable CEOs, leading to Apple being able to thrive in recent years. So let's take another look at another poll question that I had up recently. And that was also related to Apple. Which company was the first to reach a $1 trillion market cap? And I gave the choices of um, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, and Google, and most people had that one correct, it being Apple. So right now, still, I didn't throw Microsoft in there, but the Microsoft, Nvidia, and Apple are the largest companies when it comes to market cap. And I think I have one more in here. Let's see. If you could meet any investor, who would it be? And the winner when it comes to that is also Warren Buffett. Just to be silly, I threw Laszlo in there, and he was the guy who bought 2 pizzas with his Bitcoin many years ago. Um, but some of the other choices I put in here are Kathy Wood, who is the founder of ARK Invest, known for investing in high growth companies, and you know, those AI tech companies that have really thrived, and Nancy Pelosi, who is a politician, but she has made a name for herself as being her and her husband as being great when it comes to their stock market picks, which has sparked debate about her on whether she has insider knowledge and if politicians should not be allowed to trade in stock because of certain knowledge that they may have. So she came in second place as someone that people would like to talk to when it comes to a famous investor. So just wanted to start off with that as people were rolling in to get started. Let me get rid of this. Remove Melody Hobson. Now, I actually met Melody Hobson. Um, she came to speak for I guess a a network that I was a part of at a certain company, and I wasn't familiar with her. I someone told me to come to the event, and um, I literally looked her up because it was going to be a few towns away against traffic for me to go to this event. And I did go, and it was such a great experience. But this was how many years ago? I say this is probably about 2014. I literally was Googling her at work as I was making the decision if I was going to go to the event. And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I did, and I got to meet her. I think she had a book out at the time, but I didn't get the book. But I got to meet her afterwards and just briefly say that it was such an inspiration getting to talk up to her, getting to hear her speak in person. But maybe I'm not going to get into that but very interesting that you should mention her. But when I Googled her up that day and I saw that she was married to the Star Wars guy. I was pulling just random things, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go." But once I was there and got to hear what she was all about and hearing about her childhood, such a great experience, such a great experience, and I didn't even know who she was at the time. All right, so now let me get started. Thank you, for everyone else, Buzz, Fairbrook, Peachy, for tuning in. Um, I don't have a monitor in front of me, but I'm gonna try to keep up with the chat and not have you looking at the side of my head all day. Um, so let me just take a look at the comments so far. Politicians should not be allowed to trade. They should not be able to buy stock in individual companies as they may have contact with. Yeah. Yeah, many people feel that way. The Star Wars guy? Yes, yes, I mean, she's married to, George Lucas. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Um, but let me get going with thank you, Peachy, for that super chat. Do I have everything on? I just feel like a mess today. Um, my microphone. Oh, I got this bumping into each other. Okay, guys. Yeah, guys, I have a whole keyboard here. I had to go get a little extender to try to, make a little makeshift something to try to keep up with not just the lives, but my recording of my videos. So I dropped off the computer for repair on Thursday. And I went back no, on Friday, I dropped it off for repair, and I went back yesterday, Saturday, and picked it up and told them, "When you have the parts, when you are ready to work on it, I will bring it back because I need it." And so I am here able to do what I'm trying to do today. Okay. Pelosi is a legacy. Yes. Okay. All right. So let me get started on the topic. So I'm going to start off by talking about the article that I mentioned about Warren Buffett and some of the things that he says are things that we should splurge on when it comes to our spending. And the first thing is I'm going to talk about is investing in yourself. And every week I feel like everything I'm always talking about kind of ties to each other. Over the last few weeks, I've been talking about, the amount of layoffs and the tariffs and just expenses and everything that we're dealing with. But talking about layoffs specifically, investing in yourself. I feel sorry for those who went to college or went to trade school or whatever and got a certain skill that now with AI and technology and everything is becoming somewhat obsolete. But I just wanted to say that when it comes to that, make sure to work on yourself, invest in yourself. Maybe you'll have to focus on um, learning a new skill, taking courses, getting certified in something different. If you have two jobs, your part-time job, you might have to at some point have your eyes open. Is that day job really going to last? Could that part-time have to shift to being the main source of income? And hopefully you can get more hours or somehow gain more income from one of your other streams of income because of what's been going on. Reading books, taking courses, just taking the time to invest in yourself. Um, so that's one thing that I gained from looking at this article. Another is your health and well-being. You're not going to be able to build wealth. Like they always say, health is wealth. So you have to take care of yourself and make sure that you are healthy in order to go out there and be on track, eating right, exercising, managing your stress. And I often say that having that emergency fund is one way to help to manage that because when things arise, you know that you have something to fall back on. So, like I'm talking about here, it's a way to just ease the burden because things are going to happen. And when your health is strong, it can also help you to have a clearer head in order to make those sound financial decisions. And another thing that I wanted to touch on that I gained from taking a look at this particular article was kind of quality over you have to know what you need to focus on buying a quality item, you know? I'm not saying to buy a house or a car or something that is above your means, most definitely. But you have to have quality. You have to have something that is reliable. And, whether it's clothing, boots for work, or whatever you may need, making sure you're keeping up with your car maintenance and things like that. You have to be able to put focus on the things that are going to give you quality and longevity in the items that you're buying, so that you're not having to buy them over and over, as well as you know just being able to, you get what I'm saying. There are certain things that you want to just focus on saving up, getting a quality item so that you don't have to keep on replacing it and spending money over and over again, when you could have just, focused on getting a quality item to start with. So I shared I was driving an old car for the longest, but with that, I kept up the maintenance, and I kept it on the road as long as I felt it was reasonable for me to continue repairing it. And then once I even decided to let that one go, I still went and bought a used car and put a substantial amount down, because I still did not want to be burdened with any hundreds of dollars for a car payment and increased insurance. So Buzz is saying, yes, quality stock picking should be the same. Yes, that's another thing that I'm going to touch on, definitely, in that investing in strong, well-known companies instead of chasing those hype stocks. But most definitely, you knew I was going there, right, Buzz? But I feel like that's something that should be throughout everything that you're uh, gonna be purchasing, if it's something that you want to hold on to long term. Now, I understand there's certain things that are just fashion, trend, or whatever, a pair of earrings or a pair of jeans, that you're not going to invest a lot of money into. But your car, certain things, around your house that you want to get years out of. So just gifted. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. Miss V, thank you for tuning in. Corner Clubhouse, thanks for chatting and tuning in today. So those are the things. And, just wanted to touch on that to say that the price is what you pay, but the value is what you get. That is a quote from Warren Buffett. And that's what I wanted to start off with today on one of the topics that we were going to be covering. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about 5 things that I'm glad that I focused on in trying to no, do or do not. There is no try. Back to some Star Wars thrown into the show. Um, 5 things that I have focused on to achieve financial freedom. So let's see. One is investing in real estate. Now, real estate, I do not call investing into real estate passive income, because it can be stressful depending on your tenants, and it's a lot of responsibility. But it's a way to build wealth for the long term, and I'm glad that I uh, have rental units that are generating me cash flow on a monthly basis, and the property values have grown substantially, especially over the last few years. And being able to even buy a property when the interest rates were extremely low, refinance others, it's just been a great asset to me that I'm glad that I incorporated, even though it was a bit later in life. So even if you can't buy a home yet, learn about real estate, have an understanding, be prepared for the opportunity if things do shift in the future. And as we know, when it comes to rents, they have been going up drastically, especially if you work or not work, especially if you live in a big city. I'm sure that you know this, but yes, my mortgage does go up based on increases to property taxes and insurance. Basically, those are going to be the things to get it to fluctuate. But the increase is not what I've heard many people say that they've been affected by with increased rents, especially if you live in an area where you potentially, with what's been going on over the last few years. I know a lot of, I even bought a property. I inherited my tenants because I bought a property with tenants in place. So, and I raised their rents. So I see both ends of this, is that many people have been impacted by things like that when their property where they were living could have been acquired by someone from another state or something like that. And obviously that the owner was just trying to reap the rewards of the gains that they've had in the property value, but now the new landlord comes in and has to raise the rents because they are not in market value. So real estate, that's number one. Now, what's built into my name, Lisa J Stocks, and that is investing in the stock market, putting focus on investing and being on top of the performance of um, my retirement accounts and opening up additional accounts and incorporating those ETFs, which I think everyone here is most likely a fan of, according to my survey results. So, diversifying, incorporating ETFs like VTI, VOO, SCHD, and those blue chip stocks and other investments that pay dividends like my Main Street Capital. Just working to build a portfolio that is going to pay me dividend income as well as have that share appreciation through those growth stocks on many companies that I know and use, but even if I don't, companies that I've done my research on and feel are good long-term sound investments. But most of the investments in my portfolio are things that I'm sure that you are familiar with, like Microsoft, Google, Apple, things like that. I don't have any Netflix, but I do have some Meta. So let me take a look. Did I put this phone over there? Have I ever had to deal with squatters? No, I have not. I have not. I have looked at properties that I did not purchase that had squatters living there, which is a scary situation. But no, I have never had anyone like living, sneaking into my basement or while I was renovating something, someone get in there and start to live. No, I have not dealt with anything like that, thankfully. Okay. All right. So next is number three. And even if it's a small amount of money, I'm glad that I've made this move. And that's making sure to incorporate high yield savings account, CDs, money market accounts to make sure that I'm maximizing all of my money that could be gaining more interest than it would at my local bank down the road. So I just try to focus on having literally my checking account money for my current bills at that bank and then everything else. I was just looking, I think Discover had an offer on a CD. It was 24 months, but it was like 4 point something percent. So, there's still good deals out there if you know that you're focusing on saving something for the short term, as well as, of course, your emergency fund for those car repairs or anything that happens to come up. I am all about taking advantage of a high yield savings account in order to gain that additional interest, just leaving money on the table if you're not. So, and also, if you're not wanting to be as aggressive or have all of your money tied up in investments, it is another safe option to have a good portion of your money there. There's no reason for any of your money to not be gaining the most interest that it could. Just make sure you find the place that's right for you, someplace reputable, of course, insured. And it's a way to, like I said, just gain money on your regular savings. So, okay. And okay, another thing, I meant to tag this video in the description. If I remember, I'll do it afterwards. But so right now I'm going over 5 things that I have incorporated in order that I feel that I have incorporated into my journey that have helped me to achieve to strive for financial freedom. So this is number 4, and that is creating multiple streams of income. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a video about how the average millionaire, according to, statistics, have about 7 streams of income in order to sustain and build their wealth. And so I'm going to tag that video, or I'll share it on my community wall if you want to take a look at it. But especially in today's day and age, with the prices rising, as well as, layoffs, and maybe not being able to find a job as quickly as you did in the past, if you've been through layoffs before, just things are changing, and we are going through a very volatile time right now. I think on my thumbnail for this video, for this live, I put a newspaper with the headline "Volatility Ahead." So, with the tariffs and so many different things changing in this new administration, it's just a lot of stress and, increased costs to just everything across the board. We ran it down a few weeks ago. We did that when we were talking about the tariffs coming and all of the different things that it may impact, because, you just sometimes don't realize where all of the components of all of the things around your household are coming from, until I know I wasn't thinking about it until I really had to. And these tariffs is what made me think about, man, this could impact the pet supplies, the cans that my soda is in, just all sorts of things that uh, we the cost is going to be passed on to us as the consumer. But in the video that I'm referring to, the 7 streams of income that millionaires have are their earned income, job 1, job 2, whatever you have there, profits from investments, interest profit, just like we were just talking about with that high yield savings account and those CDs and stuff, dividend income, rental income, capital gains if you do sell some of those investments, as well as royalties from, for example, being on YouTube, or writing a book, or having a class, or some design of some, shirts or something like that. So those are just a few examples of different multiple streams of income, but I think we should all be striving to have more than just one. And it could be risky just having one and then just having to be completely dependent upon unemployment, or if for some reason you were not able to work anymore. I know you'd be limited if you were on disability, but just overall, just having multiple streams of income gives you another level of security in order for you to build wealth faster, even if you use that second job, or, the income from whatever one of these streams of income strictly for investing. It's just a way for you to build wealth. So let me take a look. Does volatility equal opportunity? And in some cases, it does when it comes to my planning and my strategy and my portfolio. I see why I keep leaving this over here, because it's sliding if I put it over here. Okay. So last point that I wanted to share when it comes to what I've been striving to do is knowing and controlling my budget. And budgeting doesn't have to be about trying to restrict yourself. It's about controlling where your money, having an understanding as well as control of where your money is going. So you have to track your spending, cut those unnecessary expenses, strive to automate your saving and investing so that you're taking that out of your hands and you're also making it a priority. It's not if there's some money left, then I'll, have it automated so that you're not tempted to let that fall by the wayside, or, choose to prioritize other things because that money is sitting there accessible to you. Uh, so right now, what have I done lately? I'm gonna make strides to uh, perhaps change my electric provider because my electric bill has gone up by 14%. So I want to see what I can do there. I'm working on that. And something else I had. Oh, and my home internet. So, when it comes to my bills, my credit card interest rate, I'm not carrying any debt on my credit cards right now, but I'm telling you, when I was, I'll always call up and ask, like, can I get a lower rate? Is there any deals, call up another credit card, find out what if I was to transfer, what would be my interest rate, how many months would I have? I'll call up Sirius XM, um, things like that. Call up and ask if there's a way that you could save money. Is there a different plan? Threaten, that you're going to leave because it's not fitting into your budget, and see what they come up with. Especially if you've been a customer for a while, it doesn't hurt to ask. So that's what I uh, think when it comes to that. So let's see. Oh, I've been having this scrolling the whole time. Oops. Comments. Thank you again, Peachy, for that super chat. I love that picture of you. Let's go back to the banners. Turn that off a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to take a look at the chat. Let me know if you have any questions on what I've been chatting about today. How have you been? Um, what things are you incorporating in order to improve your finances? If it's not something that's been a long established thing in your plan, is there something going forward as we are finishing just the first quarter of 2025? Is there something that you're going to be incorporating in your finances in the rest of this year? I know it's a strange year because we just don't know what to expect when it comes to this administration, when things will settle down. And I know we have more tariffs coming that should be in place on the 4th of next month. So we don't know, every time something happens, it's going to cause more volatility when it comes to the stock market. Thank you, Kevin, for tuning in. So let's see. All right. So I've posted more um, polls and quizzes. Do you guys like those when I do them on the community wall? Is anybody in the chat? Did you guys answer the questions that we were going over at the beginning of the live, or have you answered? Do you participate in those things that I post on my community wall? I know Peachy's told me in the past that she enjoys them. She thinks that they were fun and, a way to sometimes learn something new. But sometimes I do them often, and sometimes I kind of fall off with keeping up with that. But I tell you, in the month of March, you are going to get those because I have more scheduled already. So let me take a look at the chat and see securities and treasuries. If you're still here, Cavet, can you elaborate on your question? KC, if you're here still, thank you for tuning in. Buzz and Eddie, you guys were both on the same page. You were like, "Of course, they should not be able to politicians should not be able to, uh, invest. They should have to stick to they should not be able to invest into individual stocks." Some analysts say that you should pick stocks as you would a spouse. Interesting concept. Yes, definitely something you need to put a lot of thought into, especially if you're gonna be a person that is not watching it constantly, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, it's nothing wrong with having a more of a set it and forget it type of, some of your some or all, depending on, your mindset and your mentality and how much you wanna put into your investing journey. Those investments that you know will recover over time, will thrive, have that drip on in order to reinvest those dividends, and you know that when you come back and check on your portfolio that it will still be on track. Thank you for sharing me out, Kevin. Okay, so Kevat was sharing that, in addition to high HSAs, treasuries, bonds, and T-bills are a low risk way to make of making a way of making your money grow, I guess, making it for sure. Yes. I'm definitely okay with incorporating in my personal portfolio, I'm okay with incorporating a smaller percentage in that, but I really, do that in conjunction with really truly investing because the rewards that I get when it comes to investing, especially over the last few years when it comes to tech stocks as well as my ETFs, um, the increase is much more substantial. So but for things that you're gonna need to tap into in the next few years, if you're saving for a house or a car, or if you don't necessarily need to have all of the money that is allocated for emergency funds, if you can have a portion of it in savings, but then a portion of it in something that, might be 12, 18 months in order to get a higher interest rate. I do a mix of things like that in order to just make sure that my money is always growing. I couldn't tell you. Okay, so Kevin is asking how much do I invest into crypto compared to stocks? I couldn't tell you exactly percentage wise. I would say probably um, less than 10% into crypto versus when it comes to my taxable accounts, I would say less than 10%. Probably closer to 5 is crypto versus I'm trying to have a higher percentage. I would say 60 into the ETFs, BDC, those type of investments, and then the remaining portion into the individual stocks. But I got started off investing. One of my first investments was Apple stock when it comes to my taxable accounts, not my retirement. And so I haven't been able to get that balance achieved yet of having my ETFs outweigh, say, my Apple, Amazon, some of those individual stocks that I got it started off with. Because at that time, I was not, when I first started investing on my own, I was drawn to the individual stocks. I wasn't incorporating any VCI, for example, which is the total US stock market. I hadn't discovered those yet, but in time I did. And then I have a $10 daily commitment that I've made, and I'm still doing that in order to build up VCI, for example, for a long term foundational stock when it comes to my portfolio, but a much smaller percentage in crypto, but that's just my personal preference. I have incorporated the newest addition to my crypto portfolio was XRP over the last few months, and also FBTC in one of my portfolios that I have over at Fidelity in order to get exposure to Bitcoin over there. Okay, so fast Eddie's, do I always have the drip on all of my portfolios, or do you do your own buying with the dividends and interest? Right now, I have everything turned on, but I'm thinking about turning off certain investments like realty income, maybe Target Realty Income. Uh, I haven't done it yet, but right now I have everything on. I'm thinking about turning off some of the investments that I don't necessarily. I'm okay with the amount that I have in order to focus on others that like SCHD or Main Street that have been doing better or that I feel will do better in time as opposed to like Target in time. I have a plan to most likely cut that completely from my portfolio, but it seems like I haven't been able to find that right time in order to do it. I didn't wanna do it at a loss, but between months ago when they were having all of these challenges with some of the political choices that they were making, shall I say, and now right now, we're still in the boycott that's going on probably until around Easter time, so another, uh, till, like, the 20th or so. I don't think the boycott is ending, so, yeah, just one thing after another with them. Kevette, what are you asking about? Oh, realty income. What is your question on that? Um why did I am I considering turning off the drip on it? Ticker I don't know. Let me know if you're still here. Um But yeah, guys, drop any questions that you have. I just wanted to jump on into a quick live. At the beginning of the live, I was sharing that I broke my laptop on Wednesday night accidentally. I opened it a little bit too wide, and I broke one of the hinges. So I am without a monitor in front of me, so it's a little weird. But I just figured I would. Yes, realty income. Um, Yeah, did I just say O instead of realty income? Sorry. Ticker symbol O. A monthly paying dividend company. And yeah, one of the reasons why I wanted to what not just the performance has not been what I wanted, but I am a long-term investor, and that is not the only reason why. It's because it is the largest position when I as it comes to my monthly paying dividend companies, my any of my dividend focused investments that I've incorporated, realty income is the largest share size that I have. So by focusing on, using the dividends into Maine and, like I mentioned, SCHD, it'll give me some time to bring those up so I want to, in time, have more investments that I get to 100 um, get up to 100 shares or over 100 shares like I've done with Realty Income. So that's part of the reason. Yes, definitely steady, solid when it comes to paying the dividend and increasing, but, with the interest rates and everything that has been going on, the share and it depends on everybody has a different starting point of when you start investing into different things. So we're all gonna have, um, different growth and different percentage that we are up. So, I am probably slightly in the red when it comes to a few investments, whereas others may not be. Okay. But Yeah, I'm on these phones today. I'm trying not to have my head turned so but all right. Well, we've been on for about 45 minutes. Guys, please feel free to drop any questions that you have, any suggestions for future live streams. Just taking a look through the chat to see if there's anything else that anything that I missed. Go back down to the bottom. Okay. So I don't like any dead air on my lives. And let's see, Fast Eddie, is there any stocks you're currently looking at that you have not started a position in? No, I can't, Eddie. My budget I'm not in the place right now where I'm ready to, when I people have said this about me. I know my friends. Investing with Rod, he just says, "At least I don't know how you do it. You keep your portfolio to just a few things." And, when I incorporate something new into my portfolio, I don't wanna have one share of Google and one of Meta and one, Microsoft. I like to, really build into something. So, because of that, I want to make sure that I can focus on it long term, whether it however I'm gonna go about it, if it's gonna be, setting up a recurring investment that's gonna be whatever amount per week, daily to get started. Um, so because of that, I'm really financially not in a place right now where I want to add something new. There are already investments in my portfolio that are not where I want them to be. I have a few positions that are very small, Meta being one of them. I only have 1.5 shares, and the share price on Meta is several $100s. So it's not something that is gonna get built up that quickly. So, I say all that to say that no, I don't have a plan on incorporating anything new. I I have thoughts of things that I would like in my portfolio, but I don't know that they're gonna get added right now, because like I said, I want to be able to make a long-term commitment to build up a position, not just have a half a share of this and one share of that. So I'm gonna probably not incorporate things that I might have on my on minds like Uber because I am not done investing into my Microsoft and Meta. Um, Now, something small that I dabbled into at the beginning of the year, I put in a limit order for Court, ticker symbol CORT, Corcept Therapeutics, and I only have 2 shares. I'm up 23%, but, um, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with that long term because two shares of a stock that is, has such a low a stock price of under $100, I need to figure out what am I gonna do with this? What is gonna be my ultimate goal on how much am I gonna have? Or am I gonna just take whatever small gain I may have, in the next year or so and let that go, because 'cause I'm not one to have that small of a position, at least 10 shares, depending on the stock price. It's not that I can get everything easily to, 50, 100, but still working to build up certain things, so but let me take a look. Kevin is saying, I wish I learned more before I jumped into crypto. I have at least 50 tokens and coins, dust all over the place. Okay. What crypto have you been investing into over there, Kevin? Hi, Hilda. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Miss V. Let's see. Thank you for being a member for 8 months now. Thank you for being my very first member. Okay, Hilda, thank you for watching and cooking. I'm sure you're making some delicious Sunday dinner over there. But I'm not seeing any other questions. Guys, let me know if there's anything that you want me to cover in the lives. Did you enjoy this topic today? Let me know in the chat. And thank you for tuning in. And I will be coming to you. Probably my next video might be SCHD reconstitution update as soon as I get that information. But I'm going to do my best to continue making videos with this setup. I think it was good for me today to do this live and see, like I told you, I just picked my computer back up from the repair shop yesterday, but I'm going to find a way to use it in order to keep up with my videos over the next couple of days until I can get it back in there to get repaired. Again, thank you, Peachy, for that super chat. Thank you, Purple Rain, also for dropping that super chat. Let me just take a look at your comment there.
Thank you so much. We do greatly appreciate it.
Okay, let me see. Okay, let's see. Keep up the good work. Just saying hi. Appreciate your advice on ETFs and strategies. Planning on using my refunds on ETFs to build and work on accumulating crypto and stocks. Thank you, Purple Rain. I appreciate that. Guys, I think I shared last week, I got my taxes done. I'm not getting a refund, but I got them done. And I don't have to pay back a huge amount, so I am happy. So, go here. Okay, Purple Rain, Peachy. Thank you again, Miss V and Purple Rain. It's a little live. Kevette, you never saw my super chat thank you before? I need a new one. But I appreciate you all, and I will see you guys next week. So let's go back and let's see. Let's go out with my newest. These songs were made for me to be intro songs, but I use them as outros because I like to just jump into my topic at the beginning of the show. So enjoy my Stock It Up song, and I will see you next week. Stock it up, stock it up.